All right, got a question or a concern. To the best of my understanding, it's about communication barriers, communication breakdown between a nurse and a CNA. Could be taken as verbal language, body language, however you want to take it. It's a communication breakdown. It's a communication. Things aren't being communicated the correct way, via the CNA to the nurse or the nurse via the CNA. As a person who's been both a nurse and a CNA, I can relate to both sides of this story. The question was that the CNA reported that a patient stated that they needed pain meds. The nurse snapped back at the CNA and said, I'm just one person. I can't do everything. They'll get their pain meds. I'll get to them when I get to them. So there's a couple different things here. I'm gonna address it. One, via the side of the CNA. You do rounds on that person a lot more often than the nurse does, especially in long-term care. That nurse may not see that patient but maybe one time per shift. And that one time per shift, that patient may say to that nurse, hey, Nurse Chris, I need pain meds. I'm going to hook you up with some pain meds. I'll come back later. That's probably the only time I may see you. I may do my check in 30 minutes to an hour to see how the pain meds are treating you, but that may be about it. And then, depending upon if you're overlapping patients as a CNA, by overlapping I mean I've got rooms 1, 2, 3, you've got rooms 3, 4, 5. So 3 we both overlap, and we kind of take turns with that one. In any case, every time the CNA goes in there, that patient says, hey, Chris, CNA, I need pain meds. As a CNA, I'm going to go report to the nurse, hey, patient number 3 says they need pain meds. Well, you may not know, as a CNA, that me as a nurse, I just gave this patient pain meds an hour and a half ago. They can't take meds. They can't take any more pain meds. You may not know that. You may not have the MAR in front of you. You may not, know the schedule of the pain meds as a CNA. Your job is direct patient care, not necessarily medication. And so here's where I think, not being in the situation, here's where I think the breakdown of communication is happening. This nurse, I've been in this situation, is very stressed. This nurse is upset, at the situation at hand. They may have 20 to 50 patients, depending upon the long-term care facility. And they have been told by multiple different sources that the patient in room number 3 needs pain meds. And they may or may not have already provided pain meds to the patient. They may or may not have been able to provide pain meds to this patient due to time constraints or medication orders or physician orders, whatever it may be. And so this nurse is getting frustrated quickly. This could be just the nurse's personality. The nurse could be quite snappy at times to various different people, and they may come off that way, and they may seem quite upset. However, these nurses are doing the best that they can to their ability. Now, coming back to it, that was my nurse side. Coming back to it as my CNA side, I'm tired of hearing this patient talk about they need pain meds. As a CNA, I'd be tired of hearing, hey, I need pain meds. Hey, I need pain meds. Hey, I need pain meds. But bro, listen, calm down. I'm trying to get your nurse to get you some pain meds. Do I still report to that nurse every time that person says, hey, I need pain meds? Yes. I still have to report every time that person says, hey, I need pain meds. You still have to report. Even though this nurse is getting upset and this nurse is done with you and done with this job and done with this haul, you still have to report that. And when it comes, to documentation and whatnot, just document. Report it to nurse, report it to RN, report it to team lead, whatever it is that you have to tell them. But, I hate that the situation is that the nurses are getting snappy, but also not being there and not knowing the entire situation. I've been there as a nurse. You get tired, you get frustrated, you get aggravated when people say, hey, I need pain meds. You just got pain meds an hour and a half ago. There's nothing I can do at this point in time. My hands are tied. And you may see a nurse sitting down. And oftentimes when you see a nurse sitting down, they are charting. Very rarely do you see a nurse just sitting there eating. It's not a common occurrence to just see a nurse just sitting there doing nothing. That's not very often. So I feel like things are not being communicated. I feel like if CNAs would ask questions differently, and I did not do this as a CNA. I would simply say, hey, patient XYZ needs pain meds. What I should have said, looking back at it as a CNA, is something like, hey, patient XYZ has said that they're hurting. When was the last time they had pain meds? Or, is there anything we can do for this patient? And the nurse may say, if you ask a question like that, they may say reposition, or try to reposition, or I'll chart it, or, something like that. Without being there, it's really hard to say exactly what was going on. I hate it for, the staff, the CNAs and the nursing staff, because the residents will start to, they'll start to feel the tension. And it shouldn't be that way, but oftentimes these nurses are overworked, and it does get that way. So be patient with each other, help one another out. Maybe if one question goes wrong, ask it a different way. I'm guilty myself of being quick and snappy. I've done it quite a few times. So I hope it helps. Thank you much.